Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. And I'm starting at 4:15 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. And we have 2 new days worth of data on CAMS. We're looking at Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services website. And we showed yesterday we had new data for Sunday, and so we have data now for Monday and the 21st and Tuesday the 22nd. So I'm going to show you each with the base time. The first one I'm going to show you is for Monday being the base time. The area is the Arctic, and the level is surface level. And so what this means is that this is measurement of methane at the surface level, or about 1,000 millibars. And so this is methane that's being released either from the ground or from the coming up through the water or the frozen sea ice here in the Arctic is what it means. And then when you get higher up in the atmosphere, like 500 HPA, you can see it spreading out more. So here the movie is running, and now it's gone into the forecast period. We have data for Monday, and I'm not sure if the Tuesday data carries over onto this one, but what we're looking at is the building. Let's go back. What we're looking at is this release. I just had to refresh that. This huge release to the east of Novaya Zemlya over there in the Kara Sea, and it's still coming up. But what's disturbing is you're going to see it just spreading out across where the sea ice is, and it's where it's thinnest. Around the edges is where it's thinnest, and there's a little bit of sea ice over here. It's not very thick. There's no sea ice over here. If you want to do a comparison, we'll look at Climate Reanalyzer real quick. That's the fastest one to pull up for me to see the sea ice. So this is what we're looking at as to where this methane is coming up. It's coming up to, well, on this picture it's to the north. It's actually to the east of Novaya Zemlya. And so the ice has just started to come back here. So it's not very thin and it's not well formed, but it's coming up all through here. And then it's coming up out of Russia, and it's spreading across, and then it's coming up. You'll see later on in the forecast period that it's going to be coming up from around the edges of the Arctic Sea on this East Siberia ice shelf, and just spreading across, and it's in the red zones. So it's definitely the release is increasing. So here I'm just clicking through the 3-hour increments for Monday for you to see how it's building. And see, now you can see it releasing up here, and this is actually ice along here. This is snow and permafrost up here. So remember this new ledger, this orangey color would have been red in the old ledger, but they redid the ledger on December 11th. We're almost through Monday. And you can see the red is starting to come up over here. So that's kind of what happened on Monday. So it was still releasing, but I see it more as a building period. And this release goes in waves and in cycles, and you can see it releasing over here in northern Siberia, and then in through the ice here and here. So there's that. Now I've got Tuesday pulled up for the base time, and I've already loaded the movie, so this is where we left off at the end of Monday, and I want you to watch this movie. It might be a little jerky the first time through. Watch it as it goes into the forecast period, especially towards the end of the week, into Friday. Look at what's happening in Friday and Saturday. There's this huge, look at this release all the way across. This is in the forecast period from the data that they have. This huge release in this very high level up to, we don't know what the level is. It could be anywhere from 2160 up to 10,000 parts per billion with that dark color. But from Siberia coming all the way across, and then coming up out of the ocean here, and then here, and watch. Well, and that's the end of the forecast period, and then it starts over. So this is serious, and this is in the middle of winter up there. It's dark up there. They're not getting any sunlight up there where it's coming out. And so to see this happening for January is just, it's off the charts. It's unbelievable. Oh, and by the way, Sam Carana posted something on Facebook that now there's a new CO2 high reading of over 414 parts per million that's now coming out. The high was 413 point something, but now it's over 414. So, and he thinks we're in the middle of runaway warming, and I think we are, and I think these are the signs of it, and this is why I'm doing these daily reports, because the dominoes are starting to fall, and you'll see as they start falling, and everything will start speeding up. Now I paused that so you could really see this release up here coming out of the Chukchi Sea, and it's coming up and going into the red area and then coming across, and this is the North Pole here, and the thickest ice is along here, along this northern part of Greenland, and it's a little thicker here where it's colder than over here, but not much thicker. And so this is not good ice. It's not solid, but it's holding back some of the methane. But once this ice starts melting, you know, come spring, once the sun starts coming up there and this ice starts melting around the edges, I think we're going to see massive, every day will be like this red coming up all around, and you know, we could have that 50-ton gigaburst this summer, I mean, or any time really, because it's also heating from underneath what they're seeing. And I know there are articles about the oceans being warmer and everything's warmer, but my theory is that the Earth is heating up from the inside out, and for whatever reason, and that's what's causing a lot of this, along with all the pollution and all the other stuff that we've got going on. So I'm going to leave that, and I also have the global view for Tuesday for 500 HPA pulled up, so that's about halfway up through the atmosphere, and so you can see, as we've seen in the past, the whole northern hemisphere is in the red. But look over here, northern Russia and Siberia, where it's going up into those darker levels, and that's where all that methane is being released. So it's being captured, and it's captured in the colder temperatures up there and starts spreading out like that. So there's that. So I'm going to leave this one as a backdrop for you, and now I'm going to go over to NASA Worldview. I have some interesting things to show you over here today. So this is from yesterday, January 22nd, and here we're looking at the United States. And I've talked about beaming and satellites and things like that, and just in case people don't know what I'm talking about, when I'm zooming in over Texas, look at this. This is not normal, and the whole state is being, look at this, this arc, the way the clouds are in this arc pattern, and then look at this straight line going right through them. And so here's Lubbock, here's Abilene, Fort Worth and Dallas are down here. But if it's too cloudy, if the clouds are real thick, you can't see the beaming really good. If it's kind of thin clouds, it'll show up really good. But this is evidence of high beaming here over the whole state of Texas yesterday, and it went down into Mexico too, and you can also see it down here in the Gulf of Mexico. So there's that. I also had, let's go to the Antarctic. I had something else to show you down here. Why is that happening? There. We were watching a couple of things down here, and this is from yesterday. This is a really good view of, remember we talked about this Pine Island Glacier ice sheet, and how there was an iceberg that had formed, there was a crack that had formed, the new one, and how far up it was, and this big iceberg that had formed. Well, we can see, this is a really good view, there are no clouds here on this day, that whole iceberg has broken off, and it's all broken up in pieces. Here's a big piece of it, but these are all pieces of that iceberg. And so that's all just drifting, and we can see that the sea ice is breaking up and melting, that was holding that iceberg in. And so I don't know if all of that will drift out before it starts refreezing down there. It's still daylight down there for another couple of months, so we'll see what happens. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Then I wanted to show you another thing down here. I always find interesting things when I start looking. This is the Weddell Sea, and here's evidence of beaming down here. You see this striation in the clouds? So it's happening all over the planet for whatever reason, and they're not going to stop. So there's that. And that heats up water, so it's microwave energy that heats up water. Now I wanted to show you the Arctic, and here it is from today. And so this whole area is still in the dark because there's no sun up there. And so what we're talking about, like here's Novaya Zemlya, the area where we're seeing a lot of that methane releasing is right here so it's in the dark. So all of this area, the whole Arctic Ocean, is in the dark, and most of Greenland is still in the dark. Just a little bit of the southern end is in the light. Iceland is right here. Svalbard is right here. It's still in the dark. And then here's the northern part of Alaska up here. So a lot of Alaska's in the dark too. So that's kind of where we're at with all of that. So now let's go over comments, and then we'll do our earthquake report. I'm getting a lot of new people commenting, and I just want to say welcome to the people that I was not aware of, and thank you for your comments, and welcome, and thank you for viewing and being part of our global classroom here as we're watching things unfold. Okay, here's some comments that came in under my video from yesterday. Margaret Boucher says, thanks for the report, Margo. You're welcome, Margaret. Thank you for being here. Howdy Howdy says, God bless you too, Margo. I just hope it all goes soon. That's not very spiritual of me, but I'm tired. May all the methane be released this year. I made my amends and am ready. And you can see that that comment has gotten 5 thumbs ups. So howdy howdy, a lot of people feel the same way. I am exhausted and I'm worn out, you know. I'm ready. I'm so ready for all of this to be over. And you know, it may be from the methane, it may be from something else. I just don't know. I think it'll be a whole combo plate of things, but like I said, the dominoes are starting to fall now. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your comment, and God bless you. And that was not unspiritual of you to say that. I think it just shows that really how tired we are of the whole thing, and of being lied to, and of being manipulated, and that we're ready to leave, because we can see that there's no fix. There's no fix to any of this. Valhalla 56 says, I love your vids. Nobody else is doing this with the cams. Even the scientists are not doing their darn jobs. Well, thank you, Valhalla, and I know you're a long-term listener, and I appreciate you and appreciate your comments and your support too. So thank you for being here. Earth Angel says, great report. Thank you, Margo. You're welcome, Earth Angel. Thank you for the comment. I Am Me says, could it be that the methane gas plume has leveled at altitude? Thus, a spreading of the plume will be noticed. I'm just saying. I'm not understanding exactly what you mean by saying that it's leveled at altitude. Are you meaning that it's just spreading out at altitude rather than coming up? I wouldn't think that's the case, because methane is a very light gas and it rises quickly, and it rises very quickly. It's a very light gas. It's part of what comes out of natural gas, and so I don't think that would be the case. If someone else who's one of my viewers who has a scientific mind and knows about this and can address that, you know, I would appreciate it. But thanks for listening in the comment, I Am Me. I don't know. I mean, we're in no man's land here, and we're here learning together. Sensible Hair says, cheers, Margo. With the recent reports from Antarctica and all the continual news from the Arctic, plus crazy worldwide temps we're having, I'm pretty much convinced that we are in the midst of runaway global warming. I agree, Sensible Hair. And Australia is, I mean, those poor people in Australia, I mean, their roads are melting. Their roads are melting. It's so hot day after day down there. They're not getting any relief. So thank you for your comment, Sensible Hair. Then Martin Enderlin says, Dear Margo, after several years of critically following you, I just wish to express my gratitude for your continuous work. You're welcome, Martin. Thank you for being here. No surprise to me any longer that climate change, methane, UVC, ozone layer, geoengineering, and earthquakes, pole shift are interlinked. Keeping your channel small has also advantages, as the trolls have not joined the discussions. Keep the good work going as long as you have stamina. Much appreciated. Thank you again, with love and light. Well, thank you, Martin. I appreciate that. As far as the trolls not joining the discussions, they try. They try, and this is why I have all the comments set to be held until I review them, because I figure this is my channel, and you know, I want, if someone is just coming to troll or criticize or you know, cause disruption and not be helpful here, you know, their comment doesn't come through. So I work real hard at keeping the trolls at bay. But thank you, Martin, for noticing that, and I am growing. You know, I'd love to stay under 2,000 subscribers, but because the more you get, the more you have to monitor and all that stuff. And I'm not monetized, and so, you know, I'm just doing this because this is what I'm doing till the end, and I'm on a mission from God to do this. So, we'll do what we can. But I agree, everything is interlinked, so we'll just be watching everything together here. Troy Turton says oceans are warming far faster than scientists estimated. And then he puts a link to this YouTube video, and it has to do with this article that came out. And Troy, yeah, and I read the article, and it's true. Everything is warming faster. And then Troy leaves another comment. This map could be helpful locating oil fields in the areas where the methane may be being released from. Usually where there is oil, there is methane, and vice versa. And this is a very good map. Thank you, Troy, for this, for doing this research. And this is has to do with oil and natural gas production in Russia. And so these are the places where the oil reserves are being found. And so we can see to the west of Novaya Zemlya, this whole area, and then a bigger or darker oil reserve is called the West Siberia one, and we're seeing a big release coming up here and out of the Kara Sea here, and then East Siberia we're seeing a release here as well, then another one down here, and then another one over here off the Far East coastline, and I've seen a lot of methane coming up over there too, and a lot of ozone out of that region too. But so I think you're right, Troy, and I think that's one thing we need to keep an eye on. Plus we have to remember there's a lot of permafrost up there, and so as one thing happens, it triggers something else, like we were saying. So I think that's a very valuable map, so thank you for that, Troy. And then Troy says there is much more industry in the northern hemisphere, so that may explain why the North Pole is heating up more than the South Pole. It could be. I did a video back in, I think it was June, and it was called about Novaya Zemlya. It was a whole bunch of research that I did about Novaya Zemlya and could it be the smoking gun for Arctic warming. And it has to do with Novaya Zemlya and that area up there having been used as a test site for nuclear weapons by Russia, and that because of that and the radiation and the all the nuclear blasts and everything, I linked that with the extreme Arctic warming. So you might want to check out that video. It's called Novaya Zemlya, the smoking gun for Arctic warming, ? And I think it was back in June. So, but climate scientists don't talk about that. They want to focus on other things, but it all plays in together. And so thank you, Troy. And then David Alcock says, looks like the methane is escaping at the edge of the ice cap. Do you think it's possible that there could be a hell of a lot trapped under the ice waiting for the thaw? Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And it is escaping at the edge, and not just the edge, but where it's thinner, like I was showing you. And the next comment plays in with that one. So thank you, David, for that comment. Robert Hayes says, I'm forgetting which agency had maps of sea ice extent. I'm curious about Novaya Zemlya's east coast, where we've been seeing those methane plumes recently. Also, Dutch Sense mentions Anchorage 4.9 maybe today. I like his humor about the potential downgrading, so there's not as many fives. Gallows humor, sorta. Thanks, Margo. Thanks, Robert Hayes. Yeah, I've seen Dutch Sense say that the fives are all being downgraded to 4.9, so that it doesn't flip people out. And we do have a lot of earthquakes in the high 4 ranges that would probably normally be 5s. As for the sea ice extent, I put the link below here to the National Snow and Ice Data Center, and this is the page where you can look at the sea ice daily here, monthly or daily, and they're a day behind. And so this is the sea ice extent from January 22nd, and so Novaya Zemlya is here. You can get it's kind of hard to see here. You almost have to download it and then look at it. Anyway, I really don't want to download it, but you can see that the ice comes right up there, and then this western edge is ice free down here. So if you click on now, that's the extent, that's how far out the ice has come. That doesn't show the concentration. Here is the concentration, and so where it's white, it's more concentrated, and where it's blue and into the darker blues, it's less concentrated. So we can see that it's less concentrated where it's coming up over there. Also, they have this graph over here that can show the Arctic sea ice extent, and it's at its lowest right now in history since they've been recording it. And 2012 was the lowest before, but right now it's dipped down, and this blue line, we're below where it was at 2012 at this time of year. And then if you want to look at the Antarctic, you can click there, and you can do monthly or daily, and you can look at the extent and the concentration there. And here is their graph for Antarctic sea ice extent, and it's at the lowest ever in recorded history as well. So it's not boding well for sea ice. And let's see what Blue Marble view. Oh, that's nice. That's kind of gives a different perspective with the Blue Marble view. So anyway, I left that link in the comments so that people can look at that. So thank you, Robert, for being here and for your comment. And then Raven Ken commented under one of my older videos. This was from, I think it was May 23rd, on my sulfur dioxide and volcanoes. And he says, I was because back then I was seeing a lot of red, the sulfur dioxide just coming up out of Russia. It was like pluming up out of Russia and out of the middle of the Arctic too, and swirling around. And so Raven Ken said that is the area of the Siberian traps. Oh, that is volcanic activity signature and not geoengineering. Holy cow, that would bring all sorts of heat to the surface and melt surface permafrost in a flash. Wow, I'm going to go have a drink now. So, yeah, I know, Raven Ken. I was flipping out when I was seeing that. So, thank you for your comment, and thank you for viewing. And if you want to see, like, so this is the video. It's from May 23rd, and I actually have it listed in the description box under all of my videos, sulfur dioxide and volcanic gases, part 1. I thought I was going to do a part 2, but I didn't. But anyway, you'll see what I was talking about, and it was dramatic. It was unbelievable what was happening. And let's see if I can go there. Now I'm going around the world showing it. But, oh, here it is. See? Arctic sulfur dioxide 519.18. See, it was pluming up right here, and then it was moving out over the Arctic. But that's the signature of volcanoes releasing sulfur dioxide. That's what it looks like. And it's a sudden release. So it was a good video. That was one of my beginning educational videos when I was learning about this stuff myself and making videos of it. So thank you for all your comments, everybody. I appreciate all of you. So now let's get right into earthquakes. And I have USGS pulled up for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours. We're showing 253 on the map. So that's an increase from yesterday. We can see all the earthquake makers are back at work. It's the middle of the week. And in the last 24 hours for 2.5 magnitude and higher, we're showing 39. So let's see what's about to fall off the map and cover those first. Looks like they're down here in the Dominican Republic and Peru. Well, let's do this. We'll start down here in South America. We'll do South America and the Atlantic, the Dominican Republic, and then we'll make our way around. How's that? That's the plan. So then we'll catch them all. So we're seeing 3 down here in South America. Wait, we got 1 on the coastline too. Alright, because we had 1 up here in Venezuela. So we got 4 in South America. This one was off the coast of Paracas, Peru. It was a 4.3 that happened yesterday at 5:38 p.m. Pacific time, 10 kilometers deep. We can see it's right on that red line. And it happened in the ocean. Here was 1 on land. It was a 4.3 near Santo Tomas, Peru, that happened last night at 10:39 p.m., 76 kilometers deep. Here's 1 in Argentina, a 4.6 near San Antonio de los Cobras. That happened at 3:22 this morning, 180 kilometers deep. So that was a deeper one. And now remember, the USGS doesn't show like under 4.5 or not under 4.5 for international earthquakes that much. But if you want to go to the EMSC, the European earthquake maps, you can see them, and they've got them listed at like 3.4, 3.1 Turkey, 3.9, 3.1 Turkey, and so forth. Here's a 4.4 Lombok region, Indonesia. and so forth. So they show things that USGS doesn't show. So now let's go up to this one in Venezuela. It was on land. It was a 4.5 near Yaguaraparo, Venezuela at 2:44 this morning, 104 kilometers deep. So it looks like that wasn't near anything. Here's an airport. It was a few miles from the airport. It probably didn't cause any damage, but you never know. Then I'm watching closely. Oh, wait. I want to show while we're over here. This one, right on this red line, a 5.2 that happened at the Central Mid-Atlantic Ridge at 6:48 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. Now I'm watching closely this Dominican Republic area. The earthquakes are getting larger in magnitude. We've got 11 here listed for today. I'll just call them out. 2.7, and you can see the blue dot where it lights up. 3.0, this one was 119 kilometers deep. It was on land here. On Dominican Republic, here's a 3.2 in the ocean. 2.9, 3.5 right here off the coast of the Dominican Republic. See, it was in the water. That was 87 kilometers deep. So we were at that 3.5. Where was that? Oh, here was at 3.5. Then a 3.1 right here. 2.8, 3.0, 3.4 right here on that red line. 3.1 and 2.6. So that's what's going on down there. Now let's come to the South Pacific. We had a 5.1 up here. It was 248 kilometers. It says southeast of L'Esperance Rock, New Zealand. 10 kilometers deep. It happened at 11:06 p.m. last night. Right on the red line. Here's a 5.2 near Raoul Island, New Zealand. That happened at 9:52 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. And then a very deep 4.4 near Fiji Islands that happened at 3:34 this morning, 535 kilometers deep, very deep. Now also, there was an earthquake up here. It registered, I think it was 5.8 or something, but didn't show up on any of the USGS or any of the other scales. But Earthquake New Zealand on their Facebook page reported it, and people felt it, but they're calling it a ghost quake for whatever reason. I don't know what that means. I'm going to have to do some research on that. If anybody knows what a ghost quake is and wants to share that information, that'd be great. So, there you go. More of not reporting. Here was a 4.9 near Kahali, Indonesia. Here's a 5.5, same place. This one was at 3:39 this morning. The other one was at 4:36 this morning, so about an hour apart. Here was a 4.3 near Sindang Sari, Indonesia at 3:05 this morning, 104 kilometers deep. So all these happened in the same time frame, within about an hour and a half. Then up here at the Philippines, right on the red line, a 4.7 near General Luna, Philippines, in the water at 2:53 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. So around the same time, all of these were going off. Okay, so that's everything over there. Now, let's zoom into Hawaii and let's go to all magnitudes. We've got 18 earthquakes here on Hawaii today. So this number is picking up, and the magnitudes, a lot of 2s and 1s. So let's go on in deeper here. Now, yesterday we saw a whole bunch in the Kilauea crater, but there's only 2 in there today, a 1.7 and a 1.8. Here's another one up here near Mauna Loa, 2.1. Now here's that Mauna Loa Observatory. This is where they register the carbon dioxide readings. That's where it comes out of. So, and they've been offline for a couple of days. So, did we see this one? 2.0 near Hawaiian Ocean View. 1.8 near Pahala. Then, this is very weird looking to me. Look at these swarm out here in the ocean. It makes me think there's some kind of activity going on under, like under the water there. Something's going on. You know, like undersea volcano or something. And these are the highest magnitudes. There are 12 there. I'm just going to call them off. 3.0, that's the biggest one. 2.4, 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, 2.1, 2.3, 2.1, 2.2, 2.2, 2.2, 2.1. That one happened at 9:43 this morning, and they started at, well, yeah, this round started at 2:09 this morning. 2:09 to 9:43, so about 7.5 hours. All of those came in. 12 altogether. So there's that. So we've got to keep an eye on that. Something that could be a sign of something getting ready to blow. Now let's go up to Alaska. And let's go to the 2.5 magnitudes first and higher. Okay, we've got 10 on the map, 2.5 magnitude and higher. There was a 4.5 up here at Big Lake near Anchorage. 2.6, 2.6, 2.7 right down here. 3.3, 2.9, 2.6 at Kodiak Station, 4.0 Cantwell up there, 3.9 back down Anchorage, and a 2.6 at Valdez. So we've got some in the higher readings there. Now let's look at all magnitudes. All magnitudes, we've got 66 here today. So we can see them clustered down here in the Anchorage region. There's 52 right there. And up here, they're kind of going around up here. There's 10 up there. So now let's come down to the United States. Okay, we've got a small one over in Tennessee, a 1.0 that happened near Greenback, Tennessee. That was last night at 9:44 p.m. 8 kilometers deep. Then, in the northwest area, there was a 0.2 near Morton, Washington, right here, and a 1.5 near Eatonville, Washington. Then coming across to the Yellowstone region, we've got 11 here today. .1 near Whitehall, Montana, 1.2 near West Yellowstone, Montana. Well, let's just zoom in and see where these are. Okay, here we've got a stack. We've got a stack of 7, all at West Yellowstone, Montana, and they're between a 0.3 up to a 1.2, all right there. And these came in. These started coming, like this one was at 6:04 p.m. last night. And this one was at 2:15 p.m. today. So there's that cluster there. Then down here, Old Faithful Geyser is showing 2, a 2.0 at 1:59 this morning, and a 3.0 at 2:05 this morning. So 6 minutes apart, a 2.0 and a 3.0 at Old Faithful Geyser. And then we had the 1.3 near Manhattan, Montana, and 1.1 near Whitehall, Montana. So that's in the Yellowstone area. So that's all those. Now, coming on down into Utah, we've got 4 at Enterprise, Utah, 2.9, 1.4, 1.0, 1.3. So we got that little cluster there. Now we can see the activity is coming back. Up here in northern Nevada, near Carlin, was a magnitude 2.0 from an explosion that happened at 1:56 p.m. today at 0 kilometers depth. So that was from either a quarry blast, or it would have said quarry blast, though. It was probably some kind of construction or something like that. Here was a 2.1 explosion near Ely, Nevada at 2:28 this afternoon, 0 kilometers depth. So so 2 explosions right there. So let's work our way across. Well, let's just cover, let's finish up with Nevada, and then we'll come across to California. We can see there are 21 on the map right here, including these up here at Enterprise. Most of them are small and just peppered around in this Nevada test site area. 2.1, it looks like, was the biggest one. And here's Tonopah and Warm Springs. And then coming up into the Hawthorne area, we're seeing a few around Walker Lake. Here's one down here near Smith, Nevada, 0.6. Here's one, a small one, down, it looks like at Prison Hill again. Yeah, that's Prison Hill. 0.1 that happened last night at 8:24 p.m. Now coming over to Lake Tahoe, we've got two. We've got one in the lake, in the northwest end of the lake. It was a minus 0.2 magnitude, meaning it was a microquake. It was very small, 10 kilometers deep. That happened yesterday at 6:58 p.m. And then here was a minus 0.1 at Tahoe Vista. It looks like it was at Carnelian Bay, almost on the beach. It was just on the other side of the road that goes around the lake. 6 kilometers deep. It happened at 10:48 this morning. Then up here in the mountainous area between Tahoe and Reno was a 0.8 that happened last night at 9:41 p.m. Then there was one south of Pyramid Lake, a 0.3 that happened at 7:17 p.m. last night. And then over here, up here in California, there was a 0.5 and a 0.1 just to the northwest of Reno. In fact, the highway that goes north out of Reno was 395, and it was just right next to that highway, almost up at Honey Lake. So there's those. So we got Nevada covered. Over here was a 1.5 near Durham. So that's to the southwest of Chico and to the west of Oroville Dam. Now we never saw anything show up for yesterday. Remember they were going to do some blasting at the Oroville Dam here on the rock area, but it never showed up on the map. I don't know if it got delayed because of all the snow and rain that they got. It was a messy weekend. So I didn't see an announcement either way. Here was a 1.9 near Laytonville, California. Then at the geysers, we have a whole bunch. We've got 19 here today. And they're in the ones and under range. So there's those, that cluster. Then down here in the San Francisco area was a 1.9 near Union City that happened at 6:36 last night. Now let's come over to Mammoth Lakes and the Long Valley area. We've got 15 on the map here that we're going to be watching. This is the biggest one. It was a 2.1. So most of these are under 1. Here's a 0 one. But they were all like in the same area, and this is in that danger zone with Mammoth Lakes, Long Valley caldera and all of that. Let's see if there were any in the minus depth range. No, they were all underground. So there's those. Then coming on down, did we see this one? 0.6 at Meadow Creek. Then some more down here. Big Pine. These are all, this whole area is called near Big Pine, California. There were 4 right down here in this area. Small ones, 0.8 to 1.6. So you can see that it's picking up. Then some more coming in down here. Here's a cluster. We've got 8 in the viewing area here. This is near Coso Junction. Most of these are Coso Junction. Normally we'll see 1 or 2 down here, but we've got looks like 6 at Coso. Yeah, about 6 at Coso Junction. And they're small, but it's showing movement. They're like this one was a minus 0.3, so that was a micro quake, and then they went up to the biggest one was a 2.8, so that's pretty good size for that area. Then here's one by itself, a 1.2 near Lake Isabella. Then we're getting close to the Los Angeles area. Let's go back up here and catch any of these on this San Andreas fault line. A 0.7 near Pinnacles. 1.2 near Parkfield. 0.7 near Parkfield. Then we've got 2 right here near the coast. A 2.6 near San Simon. This happened at 9:21 p.m. last night, 8 kilometers deep. And then a 2.4 a little bit further to the southeast that happened at 1:40 p.m. today, 8 kilometers deep. So we're definitely seeing movement. Here's a quarry blast that registered a 1.8 magnitude earthquake at Boron, California, that happened at 4:32 p.m. today. And another quarry blast not very far away near Mojave. It registered a 1.4 magnitude quake, and the depth was minus 0.8 kilometers. So it was up on a hillside or in a mountain. Here's another quarry blast that registered a 1.4 magnitude quake near Tehachapi that happened at 11:49 this morning, minus 1 kilometers depth, so that was up in the mountain or on a hillside. So you tell me, with these 3 blasts going off here, is that going to cause shaking? I would think so. And here's just a regular earthquake not very far away from this blast. It was a 1.6 near Tehachapi that happened at 8:28 this morning. So I think they're causing earthquakes with all this blasting. That's just my opinion. Okay, nothing down in Mexico. I'm going to try and get this whole Southern California area on the map. Okay, we're showing 41 here, including this one up here, 1.3 near Santa Paula, 1.3 near San Bernardino, 1.7 near Moreno Valley, 1.2 quarry blast near Home Gardens, 11:32 this morning, minus 0.5 kilometers depth, so again up in a hill. So we're seeing a lot of blasting. They're moving dirt, moving rock, whatever they're doing. They're hard at work down there. Now let's look down here in this Imperial area south of Brawley. We've got 4 here. We saw quite a few down here yesterday. 1.3, 1.7, 1.1, and 1.4 all together there. Then here's 1.1. Then down here by the Salton Sea is a 1.3. So they're all lined up, and this fault line comes right down there. This is the San Andreas Fault, and it turns into the Imperial Fault. That's what it becomes there. So it just picks right up, right along that fault line. And then here in the Kauai area are 24 small. Here's another quarry blast, a 1.0 near Paula, California. Happened at 2:05 p.m. today, a minus 0.7 kilometers depth. So up on a hill. Or in a mountain. So you get the idea. So let's zoom back out. So all of this activity, you can see it coming down through the Sierra Nevadas, and then coming down the San Andreas fault line and down into the Imperial fault line, and then down through Yellowstone. I mean, everything's just picking up. Uh-oh. What have we got here? This just got registered, a 5.5 near Hihifo, Tonga, and it was registered, it says it came in at 4:52 p.m. Pacific time, 10 kilometers deep. So right up here. That's brand new on the map. Also, oh no, that's okay. I've already shown you all of those. Looks like some more up here in Alaska and Hawaii, more in California. So they're coming in. We're up to 256 in the last 24 hours. Let's look over here. Oh, here's a new one. 2.6 near Valdez. Came in at 451. I think we saw that 3.9 at Anchorage. Yeah, I think I got them all. So, I will let you go for today. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to be out most of the afternoon, and will probably not feel like doing a report tomorrow night or late afternoon, so I'm going to do a quick earthquake update in the morning. Just earthquakes. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do comments or methane or anything else. I'm just going to do earthquakes, just so we'll keep up with that. And then I'll just report on earthquakes that have come in since where I ended today, since this 5.5 from Tonga. And so, and then I'll get caught up on Friday. So, as I say in all of my videos, I do believe time is short. No one knows the day or the hour, but the dominoes are starting to fall. We're seeing it. I'm here showing you the signs so that you can know that you're not going to have much time left to get your spiritual houses in order and get ready to leave the planet. And I do recommend everybody do that. So I love you all very much. And until next time, God bless every single one of you. Go in peace and goodbye.